And because of the potential severity of his crimes, a reader might come to believe that the rules for qualifying foods should be extended to include food that is otherwise forbidden, and especially food that rightfully belongs to the priests, the Levites, or the temple. The Mishnah comes to tell us that this is not the case. The requirement of meat and wine is absolute, and the meat and wine themselves have to be otherwise permissible in order for the son to be eligible for conviction as stubborn and rebellious. No other case can be combined with that of the stubborn and rebellious son, a dramatic limitation imposed on the case. This does not mean that he will not be prosecuted for eating forbidden things in a forbidden way, but rather that the violation blocks him from being stubborn and rebellious. Here, categories of violations cannot be mixed, and again, a layer of protection is added for the son. So it's almost like there's and we even see and this is a trend we're going to continue seeing throughout the early rabbinic work, is that they continue limiting the culpability of the son to be put to death.
One of the things that I always ask my students is, working off of that mission, is why wouldn't you include forbidden food? Wouldn't you think that that certainly should result in someone being prosecuted as a wayward and rebellious child? Like, I understand that that Mishnah says that you can't be a ben Sora Mora if you either had, or is it the following Mishnah?
Here, I'll read it out. So it's baked within that Mishnah. It talks about, and there's a whole bunch of limiting. It said if he ate these items, if he ate this meat or drank this wine with a mitzvah group, or ate them at the intercalation of a month, or if they were the Meiser Sheni in Jerusalem, the second tithe, which is another Deuteronomic verse. If he ate animal carcasses or animals that had wounds that would have caused these trepho that would have caused them to die within 12 months, or repugnant creatures or creeping animals, these are all problematic. Or he ate untithed produce, or first tithe from which its truma was not separated, or second tithe outside of Jerusalem, or consecrated the food that was not redeemed. So all these otherwise problematic consumptive aspects are now somehow removing him from the culpable category. And it continues. If he ate an item that is a mitzvah item, or an item that is somehow related to a transgression, or he ate whatever types of food but didn't have meat, or he drank, and this is a drinking thing, he could have drank in anything, but if he avoided wine, he does not become a stubborn and rebellious son unless he eats meat and drinks wine, as it is stated, and they quote the Deuteronomy verse. And they say, and this is the end of the Mishnah, although there's no proof to the matter, there's an allusion to the matter, and it quotes the Proverbs. So the Proverbs piece further limits that it necessitates meat and wine together, and if you have the absence of either, not culpable.
Yeah. So one of the things that I think is fascinating about this particular Mishnah and this topic as a whole is many have taken this entire section and made it into this issue of the rabbis are deliberately trying to limit its possible application. That's a very kind of trendy academic and even in certain religious circles way of reading these verses and understanding the Mishnah. I actually don't think that that's the aim of that particular Mishnah, or the primary aim of that particular Mishnah, just to kind of figure out ways to minimize the way for this to happen. And part of that is because there's already such a built-in limitation in that the parents have to be the one to bring the child to the court to carry out this harsh punishment. What I think this Mishnah is really focusing on, and the Mishnayot more generally, is a different kind of question. The Mishnah's focus is this idea of nidon al shem sofo, that we anticipate where this is going to go. We see the wayward and rebellious son as a threat, because this behavior is going to spiral further out of control, and that person is then going to, like Dr. Rosenthal says, commit acts of violence. And I also think that person is going to then be a threat to influence others. And I think that might be part of the reason why all those requirements of the Mishnah are put together.